nice little error. 9 errors, so there must be some more errors. That might be it. We don't do errors around here. So here is basically, here is the game. Wait, if I throw it on here, I think you just get it. Yep. Okay, here is the engine so far. What are we looking at, Ryan? I did that. So this is the OpenGL window. And on the last engine, if you go back to my old videos, oh, I don't like that resizing. Come over here, Amy. So on my old videos, the main world was just on the whole screen, where the scene is, but this time it was like this, basically. That was the game, the whole world. But now I've implemented right from the start, because it would have been a lot of work to do on the other engine, which was the code base was getting really bad. So I've just implemented an IMGUI texture inside of a window texture image here. It's in the scene, which corresponds to the scene name here. This is here, it determines the name, and that's the end. And this is just to make sure the resizing, it checks the resizing. By that I mean this. And then all the other controls for the engine, loading assets and animations and adding some scripts and building the world are all going to be outside. But probably, you know, this is going to be full screen. And this bad boy will take up like a good third. Like what you'd see in Unreal or Unity. And then right click will give you some controls that you can move around the world. Let's put wireframe on. We'll have a debug here and we will have a wireframe mode. I want to keep the code up as well, so we're going to go like this. Like this. Although this doesn't work, I'm no longer drawing a triangle, but I've kept the buttons on, just as testers. And also, to move around, WASD doesn't work unless I click the scene here, and it's highlighted, and then you've caught the keys. And that is done just quickly. Once you use this, you get the full context information from IMGUI by get.io. Get the input, output, and then you call, so you can check if it wants to capture the keyboard. So if this wants to capture the keys, it won't let you do other things. And then I think we have is it focus? So here we say if it's focused, so we use this flag basically, is window focused. And then if it is, we set it here regardless, scene focus, true or false. And if it's focused. We use camera active. Yeah, so if camera's active, if it's not active, we will take input. And more specifically here, if the camera's not active, and you know if the camera's active or not if that is focused. And so if it's focused and active, you can take controls in the process import, which is in the game loop here. So that's your start of your loop, while loop. We get the time, total time, so between now and the last frame, and then we process import. This is where we draw the scene window. Scene texture. But actually all we do when we draw the scene window here is quite clever. And the image we use, we just draw the frame buffer, the scene FBO. Because we're not drawing it directly to the whole monitor, just to the window. And what's in scene FBO, we actually draw here, render scene. So this function is what's drawing everything, but it draws it to a texture behind the scene, almost like an image. And then that image is put on the buffer here, render scene. So we bind a frame buffer, the context FBO, and then everything we draw goes to that picture, that texture behind the scenes. And then we put that texture in this box. So it's actually an image that you're looking at, and it's just updating every frame. That's just a picture. It's like not real time in the same way as my other engine. Debug. So early on I wanted some wireframe on and off. What's wireframe? Is that the word? Wireframe. Okay, let's use the IMG UI to toggle wireframe on and off. After I extract the scene IMG UI, as you mentioned above. There's something else I need to do first. Shout out ChatGPT. 1 2 1 2 is a microphone on. Okay, forgive me, I'm just getting everything set up. It's not really a teaching stream. I'm just coding and enjoying myself. Okay, this is a perfect editor level toggle and it fits exactly where you are now. App initialization data. Okay, so just a bit of a wildcard location for wireframe equals false. when you're building an engine, sometimes like you abstract so much data, and you just multiply function after function, and that's becoming a discipline for me. Okay, scene. Checkbox name, wireframe. Yeah, wireframe mode's fine. Okay, and it's a separate. I was wondering how it would do that. There's different sizes, and let's just have a little look. It's not going to work, but it will show up. And where did it go? Here. Wireframe mode. So there it is, on and off. And then we'll just need to pass that data to the scene with the looks of it. Okay, so I'm just getting it wrapped around my head correctly. Scene context. It makes sense. To have it here. And then where do we actually make the scene context? Scene context. So that app data we pass through. Okay. I think that's it for collecting the data. I don't know what this is doing here. I'm pretty sure I used to just do the line and the fill. But did that click work? I guess not. Oh, it's here. Okay, so the reason we store the data in an array is because there's two modes. The front or the back faces of the polygons can be wireframe or filled in or point separately at the same time. Bind frame buffer, does that matter? So it gets the current polygon mode for front and back, I believe, and stores it in the array we've just made, 0 and 1. Got the name of this operator, modular operator. Okay. And this is using the data that we previously stored here. I've never done it exactly that way. I don't think, I've only done it once, like 2 years ago. It's a beauty. Let's have a look. Pretty sure it's gonna work. Sweet. So we have our tools here, and we have wireframe mode on for the world. You need it for debugging so much. Okay, I'm glad that is working. I just noticed some of my structs and scenes are they're not in order. Struct and scene, panel, result. I think this just gets the final state of the window, the texture image, FBO window from IMGUI. Actually, I'll keep it there. Sometimes I move a struct below a function just so the compiler knows it exists at the right time. I should have just changed the name here. And it's scene panel result. Oh no. Draw. So that draws all the IMGUI scene. Let's have a look. And what was it called? Out. Return O2. Should work, but usually doesn't. Usually doesn't for me. Sweet. So we've got a bit of a sort of engine flow now. Everything's abstracted, and this is just making the game loop really tidy. Last time I had like 5,000 lines of text in the game loop. Now I have so far less than 100. That's unbelievable. The time which you need, poly events and input, the IMGUI frame, and getting some of setting some flags, and then what we just did. Draw the scene panel, draw the other tools, and rendering first scene. So that actually draws the squares into the buffer, and defaults back to the frame buffer. Everything else draws on the monitor. On the main window, so the IMGUI tools draw on the main window. Yes. These two. Just for swapping buffers. Yeah. Sweet. I'm gonna make a 3D engine for a Civilization real-time strategy type game, I think. Thanks for asking. Hey man, what's the exam on? Come back tomorrow, whenever, and let us know. I've not streamed consistently for like 6 months. Okay, where are we? I just need to say hi on Twitch because I'm streaming on there, but I never really use it. Where are you guys from as well? Also, let me know if you can hear me okay. Normally I have music in the background and really go into setup, but I rushed today. So ChatGPT has got a lot better. It's picking up a little bug where if I right click, the scene will lock up, apparently. Yeah, so if I right click, the mouse is still disappearing. But it should only disappear when I'm here. You can see we've got a bit of lighting. It's only basic though, it's not even a full basic light model yet. But we have an editor, so this will be the whole like blueprint really. The world will be here, your tools will be here. Like my other game engine, we're gonna make it look nice, but you got like the basics, 2D in a 3D world. Okay, give me a wider to-do list. Now we have the wireframe for the engine foundations. Where are we at? We need physics, we need some picking, we need, I think, some more mouse movements. ChatGPT is getting excited, look. This is engine skeleton stage, it's not just a demo anymore. It's working, it's making me feel good. Actually, what's funny is I got it here in like 2 days, and when I was learning coding, this was, I don't know, maybe a week. Yeah, camera speed. So we just want a shift key that changes the camera speed. That's easy. I don't understand that fully. Centralized render state overrides. I think I did that. I did the time fix already. Okay. I don't want that there. I think the whole point of having a scene window is that it's just a scene window. It's just a scene. The rest of the tools can go elsewhere. Process import. So is that just for speed, right? Yeah, and I think we already have speed. So it should be context. So now speed is not a constant. So instead of the speed being 3.5 by the delta time, so that keeps it consistent across FPS, that 3.5 will be changed based on this here, these sliders. Got the boost and the sensitivity. I'm pretty sure I'm using a sensitivity somewhere here. Yeah. So that's sensitivity. That's for the speed of moving the mouse around, but then there's holding shift to go fast or slow forward and backwards. And the boost multiplier. Where was that used? Oh, that's on the shift. Okay. And that was just a regular speed variable. What do I want those? GUI tools. Why does debug not have access? What's a simple logical solution to giving the OpenGL tools access to these new slider variables in the app doc can move, etc. Do I really need to pass this to debug state? Debug state might be a bit old and irrelevant somewhat now. Maybe put the tools elsewhere, but not on shader, not on scene. But I still want this OpenGL tools to be the parent. Yes, okay. So now we're going to give it more data, which is good in this context. Go back, draw camera tools, draw debug tools. Yes, okay. It loves a function. What? It's not doing the right name. Draw camera tools. Render scene. Other tools before. And that needs app in data. So that has the speeds in that we put here, the defaults. I think most of the errors are gone. Yes and no. Move speed. You see, it's so fast now you can't even see. So if you set the move speed to slow here, and hold shift down, the shift button will make it 6 times faster. So going slow, hold shift, there you go. But really you want to be moving at that speed, and then what, 2x it. So forward, hit shift, now you go twice as fast. You want your 4 to be faster. And I think the sensitivity is this, yeah, which is too sensitive. There we go, somewhere in the middle. But of course these three here shouldn't be in the debug window. Well, that's working. Seven people watching now. I'll be honest, there used to be like 20, 30, which is still very low. But this is the most in 6 months because I've not streamed. YouTube punishes you. Wireframe's still working. Yeah. So what do we need to tidy up here? We'll get rid of. No, we can keep that here. I've just realised what we're doing wrong. This is the one we've just created, and I didn't remove the old one. But they're consistent. So we just need to delete that. And just okay, there we go. Going fast, hold shift down even faster. Debug. Sweet. That is the worst colour background for the world. Clear buffer bit. It needs some more. First we need to get rid of the green. A bit more red. A bit more blue. Render scene. I think that would do it, but I might clear it twice. Let's just check. I was going to vomit. I think that's too strong, but it's already better. One more time. One more time. It's a different kind of ugly. but it's better. I know somebody's thinking we can have a little slider to change that colour, but no, we don't care. Just needs to be not bad. Doesn't have to be good. You can see we're gonna have like a sky map, sky cube, sky map, a sky cube. Okay, what do we do? App init data. I want to keep that there just to make sure text stays working. Okay, what have we done? To commit, added mouse and there's the sensitivity settings, extracted render scene into own function, extracted what else did we do? Added wireframe toggles, hit commit, click view all commits, and then you want to push it and it will just save it on my GitHub, upload it, so when I go work elsewhere on a different computer I can just pull it, as it's called, basically download it. So it's backed up. Others can edit it, see the changes I've made, and so on. Hey man. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm normally on like 3 screens, so I can see my chat, I can see everything, but I was just coding today, I wasn't planning on streaming. But I thought, let's just do it. How advanced is GitHub game engine programming? 8, 9, I would say. It's at least an 8, but it doesn't have to start with an 8, it can start with like, it's C++, so all C++ coding is going to start at a 5, I would say. And now you've got, so I was using ChatGPT 2.5 years ago and people was laughing, saying how bad it is and it's like cheating. And I didn't care because I can see down the line that the world's changing. But I had kind of some knowledge. But then a year later everyone's using it and it was kind of okay. And then I've not used it for 6 months. Not done any coding on the engine, just started again, and it's changed quite a lot. And I've been using ChatGPT in the meantime, but not for this kind of project, just for everyday life. And it's hard to say if it's become solid or not, because once something becomes complex with code, that's when you'll really know. So for all these little things it's putting together for me, and it's making it very fast. It seems like it's really good, but once you might say let's get a physics engine in, because it's telling me what order to build things in, but once we start building a game and maybe something breaks and it might just come back and say, oh, you built in the wrong order, and it told me to do that a month ago. I mean, what can I do? So some things you're going to find out down the line that ChatGPT is bad at, and you just won't know until a big problem comes. But then you fix it, simple. But I'm saying that to say that what might have been a 9 or 10 difficulty, it might be a 7 or 6 difficulty. But you need to be able to look at code and get an idea, an intuition of what it's doing. It'd be ideal if you know 95% of what it's doing. I think there's probably no code so far that I don't understand that I would consider complex. But what is complex Yeah, I'm trying to stop using ChatGPT. I was thinking that earlier and yesterday. And what's complex in this code for a newbie or even intermediate is just that there's a lot going on. It's a small file. There's only like 5 or 10 files, but for the brain, it's still a lot going on. You can't hold it all in your brain at a given time, but you can look at it and then be reminded of that part of code, and you know what's going on. But yeah, but nothing. This is the thing, like, I realised yesterday it's got a lot better, and so I'm thinking, is this still going to be fun? Because normally, last year, ChatGPT wasn't given an answer, so we had to work it out myself, and whilst that can be stressful, that's the way you learn. But now it will give me a solution, not because I'm stuck, just because I'm moving on to that part of the project. And then it gives me a solution. I'm like, yeah, this is the way. Let's do it. And by the way, I don't do a lot of copy and pasting. I do with IMG UI because it's easier. I don't mind copying things that I'm not going to learn, but I do type. You'll see in time I type quite a lot. Even if I copy, I still type it because it gives me time to learn. So that's another thing you can do. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to be less fun. Because when it's giving me a solution and it works first time, and then I've moved straight onto something else, I don't know how much I've understood everything I've learned, but I don't know if I've remembered it for like next week and the week after. So now you learn and you remember, I think you remember less. But if you're working on a really big project like a game engine for 2 years, you're going to do things repeatedly, and so you're going to learn anyway, but just slower. And you will just track and make progress faster. But then I had the thought that maybe this is what learning will now be like on Earth. This is the new way to learn. But come back here in 10 years and we will know. What are you unable to solve by yourself? Elaborate. That's good chat. Okay, where are we? Okay, yeah, that's what we just did. Okay, done. Here's the code base for your memory. List the next 5 tasks, task suggestions with subtasks, and I'll pick 2. The reason I'm sending my code base is, well, I'm sending main anyway, is because sometimes it doesn't know what I've fixed and what I haven't, because I don't report back necessarily. So then sometimes it's like, oh, don't forget to fix this, and I fixed it yesterday. It's cold in here. I'm just going to turn on the heating. Actually, I know what I can do. I'm going to get my tablet to turn on so I've got the chat on my other screen. There we go. Because I've been missing a few chat messages. Let's have a look. YouTube. Now I will just forget to look at this. Anyone in Greenland, by the way, shout out Greenland. Shout out 10 viewers. It's been 6 months since I've had 10 viewers. Okay, let me just pull up the little, I don't want to call it an engine yet. It's going to be a month before I can call it an engine. I feel embarrassed to call it an engine. I'd say last time I had, last time it was an engine, but it was just braking because it was one of my first projects. That was a large project. And I just didn't keep it tidy. I'm quite pleased with this docking system. So then there's your world. Just for those that are joining the chat. So then what would we have? You would have physics in there, we'd have a cube, like a sky, terrain. We'll have some tools here for terrain generation. It will all generate in real time into the editor here, the scene. Then we will have tools that let us manipulate that terrain directly. All that's sort of tied to it, I think. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, minimal scene, mesh instance. My chat. I'm going to put my chat. I'm going to put you guys where my screen is so I can see it all. In university right now, studying computer science, using AI for projects. Seems great. I think I understand stuff I do, but when I have to remember anything on exams, I don't remember much. Yeah, I was in a coffee shop 2 days ago and somebody was saying they have an exam in a few days. I don't know if that was you. Did you see my YouTube handle? Good luck though. Yeah, I was doing a master's in AI. It was during COVID, so everybody dropped out when COVID came. And I just kept learning. It's quite important though, like, you're using ChatGPT, your lecturers are using it for marking. You know they are because one day you might be a lecturer, so you just know because they were you. What matters is that when you get your job, or when you start your own business, that you have inside you have a competency, whether you get it now or later. How you get to that point is your choice, but integrity is the way. What year are you in, by the way? So if you're in first year, by the time you graduate, what would that look like? this conversation will be very different in 2 years. But all the time, what's happening is you'll keep learning. When people enter the 20s, they stop learning as much because it's optional. What's most important is your brain is disciplined to keep learning, and it doesn't really matter what you're learning. Just keep disciplined to learn. That's my strength, not that I can code great or anything. It's just that I will always learn something new. And then when it all stabilizes a little bit, you're ready for whatever. 4th year. So was that like a 3 year? Was it a master's? 3 years, 3 to 4 years. So I've asked chat to give me 5 options because I want something that's fun. I think maybe picking, but there's not very much to pick at the minute. Picking is when you click into the scene and it knows, because this scene here, if I click it, it's just X and Y, it's flat. So how does it know when you've clicked something behind the other? It's sending like a 3D ray into the scene, and it basically changes your 2D XY coordinate into a 3D coordinate. And there's different ways to do that. It's quite interesting. And then you'll be coding that for a few days, and that's just so you can click an object in the world. Just so you can click something and then highlight it and then drag it, press delete. Hence, you're not making a game, you're making an engine and a game. But you're not making an engineer, nice. I want to create some. I'm going to add something that's visual, I think. Okay, let's depth with a grid or something, 3 axis, line, etc. or both. Give us the theory, then the practical. That's it. The quicker you have to keep yourself motivated, so the quicker you can make it look like it's going to be a game world, the better. If you're just coding for a week and nothing's changing on the screen, you give up. It's why it's not easy to follow some tutorials on like Udemy or edX, because it's not, it doesn't run in tangent with what you're creating. It doesn't feel like it. Right now you've got objects floating in space but no stable reference. Gizmo 3D. So this is a sort of thing. I'm going to put some of these lines in here. Like what you'd see on Blender. If there's anyone around, where's everybody from, by the way, as far as you want to say? Okay, let's have a look. It might start rendering slower because I've taken out the power from the laptop. X, Y, and Z should be constant size and world units grow. So I'll be impressed, honestly, if it can do this. Especially a grid. It might do the 3 lines. I'll be impressed if it can do a full grid first or second time round. It would have improved. I think I went to a tutorial or a book last time I did this in my old engine. Okay, simple implementation. You'll add a grid for lines, a minimal line shader. So if you don't know, a shader is code that runs on the GPU. So this is not a shader. This is just this is CPU code. And the example of a shader, fragment shader here. So this is GLSL, which is basically OpenGL code. It's kind of similar to C, but I think it is like sort of C vibe. C++, and this is what is drawing all the cubes. You have a pipeline, so you have this shader, which is the vertex shader. This is with your lines, and your lines basically, your triangles, your squares, your dots, and then that data is sent to the fragment shader in the OpenGL pipeline. And they talk to each other. You color the lines basically, or you put textures on them with samplers. So that's a line shader. Draw the grid inside render scene. Optional toggle so you can turn it on and off. Okay. It must be later. Later has arrived because I predicted this moment in time. So it doesn't need comments. I'm waiting for this just to not work. It's going to be quite simple, I think. Okay, add new item. Why can't we just drag that into there? That would be really simple for them to do. No, it's not. So what you could do, there might be a better way to do this. So in your main, you could say if oh wait, I misunderstood the question. Czech Republic shout out. Good question. I mean, there's hackier ways to do it. There's a way you can hack it. So you just copy and paste, and then you'd have like main2 here. It would still be called main. And then you could have your CPP, your C++ code, because it compiles this in the C++. And you could say when main2 comes, you compile it into a fragment shader, which is different. But I think by default you wouldn't do that, and I think the answer would be no. But that's all I know on it. I thought you was asking something slightly different. Still here. I think what you want to do is go fragment, right click, is there a duplicate, copy, paste, Because it's the same name. Yeah. Okay, add new item. Line. Line vertex. GLSL. Line fragment.glsl. So is web GPU just running in the browser? I've come across it, by the way. I've just not used it. Okay, this avoids lighting and normals entirely. Makes sense. Align mesh. Cool. I think I've seen some streams on it actually, just people working in it. I don't like when it's just telling me to make 3 different structs. I don't like to just start creating until I know what we're doing. Grid access, build grid access. This all needs to go in a different file. For So I told ChatGPT that my last engine got messy, and I told it to save that to its memory. Huh, so it knows. Okay, I've made the 2 shaders only. Let's create the new file for the grid and lines with structs, etc. Go. I think I know what you mean, as in just like as an object. Yeah, it's just that might be the best solution. But I'll have different modes like edit mode and for the terrain and so on. And I think mostly just because this is what I did last time. It's the brain. Grid renderer. Did it have to be a class just because it's a new... I've not had a new class for a while, so it feels comfortable. Okay. The grid renderer. Let's see how it's going to do it. Initialize, shut down, draw. Yeah, it seems okay. What are you working on, by the way? What's your current project? I hate that HPP. Forward declare a class. Wait, so I need to include that? No, I include that on the CPP, right? No, it's getting it wrong. I do think this AI in Visual Studio has got so much better though. Okay. Cool, once after GL context is created, after you compile shaders. Nice. When I did this before, my last one, it was very hacky. It worked fine, which I guess that was all that mattered. I tried to have some tools so you could change the grid spacing. It was some tutorial that was just messy. No, it knows I've got a CPP. Why would it try to do it there? Shut down. Save to call multiple times. Interesting. Draw. The view, the projection, and depth test. What did I do? Have I missed one at the top? I need that as well, so I can close this. Go away. Okay, what's the point of the shader, right? Just see if that's going to run. Is your engine, if you're still connected, is your engine in, you're doing WebGL? OG, waiting for it to kick in, but it's just too slow. I was going to look at Vulkan now that I've started the project again, and it looks like OpenGL is abstracting like a lot of the concepts, and it's more of an API than might be obvious. And so I think just to start with a window in Vulkan takes a lot of work, and it just seems unnecessary. Like, you feel like you're quite deep and it's quite rich with OpenGL. So yeah, didn't really want to do that. Maybe when I've made this engine and then I've conceptualized everything, then I don't mind, and I think it'd be wise to take a new language, a new API. Okay, let's have a look. So you'll see that I kind of copy and paste less. just so remembering, and even just forgot a lot of C, C++. Vector, Vector's my homie. Offset, that's good to know. That's a good one as well. Okay. So the, where is it? There we are. A destructor. So a destructor is a function that's called when something goes out of scope, or out of scope basically, yeah. I don't know where that button is on this mini keyboard. Let's try this keyboard. Old school. Come on, it should know. You know it. If, okay, I see why it's safe to shut, because it said in the comment it's safe to call many times, because it's doing your testing here. VBO. Did I really type it like that? So if it exists, then we'll delete it. GL delete buffers. No. I didn't type that. I think I'm going to delete, and then what are we deleting? Go on. VAO, GL delete, is it arrays, vertex array, 1, and VAO. Yeah, I don't know if I said it, but I thought it when it gave me the code, because so when it gave me in the header, when it gave me shutdown, it makes sense, shut it down. Of course, we know there's a destructor, but then when I saw essentially the destructor is calling the destructor, but I'd already typed it, so you know, so that's why. But my brain was like, huh? And when I was debating with ChatGPT earlier, because it was just abstracting too many functions, this function calls this function, which calls this function. One of my bad habits is that I don't do that enough. I don't organize well enough. This is too much the other way, but it's probably good for me to do, because it will put me in the middle somewhere. But you asked the right question. And this time next year, I'm sure when you ask that, my computer will respond to you automatically. Yeah, destructor, yeah. I read that you said destructor anyway, because I was thinking the same thing. Vertex count is 0. But there's probably going to be quite a few things that it does that aren't so efficient that I won't really notice. What was the shader called? We do have one. M-line shader. Wait a minute. Did it really forget what it called it? Oh, there's two. Oh. Yeah, the line shader was just the... Okay, M-line shader still. That's what I called it. Yeah. I think I also named it that. Yeah, the line. I don't really forget what the code does when I have a 6 months break, but I do forget a lot of design patterns. Cool, shut down just in case. We have the shader, we return if the shader doesn't exist. We'll build the geometry. Everything is initialized. So it's okay to not type that. But that is going crazy because oh, there we go. It doesn't have a scope. M-line shader. I need to tell ChatGPT not to use that that style. Okay, build geometry. So we are saving some, creating the memory for the vertices. What does this return? Nothing. It's going straight into the OpenGL. It must be. Yeah. And we already have the VAO. So I think that we don't need to save this data because it will get passed into the buffer here. So it goes onto the GPU and then you have a reference to it. Must have done the same error there. Wow, it didn't like pushback. I think it's just because of this. And that. This isn't annoying. What we'll do. Generate draw and build geometry function identical again, but use these variable names. Okay, it seems to have got most of them, even the one that I forgot about, the lowercase. And then draw, make sure everything's initialized. Previous depth. I don't know what the previous depth is doing, so let's try to come back to that. Where are they? Here. Main data. You always see on X, ChatGPT one-shotted this. Let's see. Line vertex, line fragment, grid. Grid renderer, grid. It wants the line shader, yeah. Draw inside render scene. So I think I understand what that would do, the grid there. It would just be like flat on the screen instead of it with depth. Possibly a scene context. Okay, get it. I don't know if you remember, about 20 minutes ago I said like, what is that for? So I just thought I forgot something. So it's interesting that you asked the same question. But sometimes I leave something like that hanging and I think, okay, I've obviously forgot something, let's see what I forgot. Yeah, let's see where it's going to go with it. Depth test. I think it's might be to do with putting the grid, to change how the grid is seen. There'll be like 2 options, but I might be wrong. And I've never done it that way before. Mixing context. Yeah, I think so. Oh, it's because I'm not passing, of course. Sorry, my tablet screen keeps locking. Message retracted. I don't know what you're doing. I'm sure you're right though. Oh, this is interesting. Wait till you see this. Shall I show the world? So I think, is that sort of right? But it's just not done a grid. I don't think that's right in any way. But it's not on the axis either. I think those lines are supposed to be on the black lines. It might be maths. Is this the maths in the construction, the booleans, or the shader? What did I say if I guess it right first time? It's funny that it thinks the error is related to what we noticed. So that's at 0. The location's right, I think. And what was it before? Let's go here. Is this? Okay, I need to tell my tablet to stop locking up because the chat keeps disappearing. Lock. Sleep after 1 minute, no. 5 minutes, there we go. Okay, let me see what I can see. Not. Oh, is it the numbers? What are we calling? There we go. Hey, yeah, I've actually had a lot of time off, so I've just started the engine again because things got messy just with the code base. My main loop was 1,000,000 lines, my game loop. So I just started again 2 days ago, and I'm working on the sort of scene editor. But the grid is whack. Good to have you back, by the way. What have you been working on? I think I've done like 3 streams and maybe 4 in 6 months. Yeah, let's check my OpenGL data here. That's the stride, right? Fuzz and colour. They must be right because we're at least getting the first one's done. It thinks I'm drawing something else as well, which I might be. Yes. Wait, is it because I didn't change shader back? Yes, it is. I think. No, not exactly. see what's happening in this render cube function. Shader is set. Oh. And I think that shutdown is called more often, it's called on initialize, it's called somewhere else as well. Oh no, it's only called there. Is it called anywhere else? All open documents. Well, let's fix it anyway. I didn't understand why it put it all on one line in the first place. So if this statement was true, that would be called, and then that definitely, whether it's true or not. Same with the line above. But realize it if it's thingy. Okay, bathroom break. So camera off. 1 second. Have a snack break, obviously. Yo, 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 yo. Okay, short break over. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2. Or is the short break over? So I've got some fruit. Can you guys hear me okay? Wireframe mode. So the grid is not hidden. There isn't a grid. This better not be about a line fix. Like it. No, because the line's thicker. I bet this is the issue. I don't bet, but yeah. So it's definitely calling the function. just noticed there was a texture bound, but I don't think that makes a difference. There we are. So it did one shot it. It really did. But now I don't understand why that would cause the bug. No, don't jump at me because it's probably quite simple why it did. But I need to go look at that. This main. Oh, is it because it initializes it? Wait. Make scene context. Scene context. And where was grid used here? I don't understand because pass a copy so it has the data. Is it acted on in draw? Some there's a bit of progress. That was ugly, right? Okay, so now we know that we have a 3D world. We have Blender. Is Greenland part of the USA yet? Does anybody know? I think that's docked wrong. That was docked right. Anyway. I think it's because it wasn't pointing to the location. But we've still got something, hence undefined behaviour. Okay, I got it. Let's show what we are. Like, hit subscribe. You know what we do? What time is it? Nearly 3 o'clock. I was going to go to bed at 11 PM. It's 3 AM. You see, this cube here is always on top of the and behind the line. These are on top. Explain and break down the depth test code in the main.cpp and the grid class. I didn't understand. Okay, I think I get it. False and false. Wait, that was true and true. I think these aren't working yet as well, show grid and show axis. It either shows everything or nothing. Excuse me. Yeah, that sort of makes sense now. Or at least it's not working. Yeah, the green light is always drawing. Yeah, so the grid is always on top because there's no no depth test. True and true. So the draw, if it's off, the draw order becomes the boss. In other words, the way that you call GL draw functions. This cube is not paying attention to the rules. Oh no, it is. This cube is now working. Yeah. That line is just in front. Okay, this switches it back after. This is what my old engine used to do. Too many state peaks. One, two, 1, 2. Yeah, very good. Did I have some switches for turning those on? I think I did. Yeah, I didn't test those. That'll be cool. That's cool, so it's working. So the lines are always, it's just done in order. So that will always work well. This will just be random based on the draw order. So if I go down, you will see the grid lines look, and that will hide them. And these two will probably, yeah. I think when they're both off, so that should turn the three colours off, and that should turn just the grey lines off. But they're all passed through one VBO, VAO, so it's either on or off. I'll fix that tomorrow. Hit subscribe. It's going to be probably 4 or 5 streams every week now for a couple of months. Now we're back. Good night. I'll just turn the camera off as I shut down. Good night, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are.